Live from Johnny's Tavern in West Lawrence, this is Hawk Talk with Bill Self on the Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. In the next hour, Coach Self will break down your Jayhawks and take your questions at 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-HAWK. Hawk Talk with Bill Self is presented by Boulevard Brewing Company. Local since 1989. Capital Federal Savings, celebrating 125 years. By Johnny's Tavern, serving up tradition since 1953 in the Lawrence and Kansas City area. And by Intrust Bank, proud supporter of Kansas athletics. Now, alongside Coach Self, here's your host, the voice of the Jayhawks, Brian Haney.
Good evening and welcome into Hawk Talk, live from Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, where we'll be talking all things Kansas Jayhawk basketball over the next 60 minutes right here on the Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. Coach Bill Self is on his way, and you can join Coach here in person or call us at 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-4295. You can also submit your questions and comments for Coach anytime during the week online at KUathletics.com or on Twitter using the hashtag KUHawkTalk. We've got a terrific crowd here at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. Going to give away some prizes to our audience as we always do. Sure, we love taking the phone calls and the tweets and the emails, but if you come in person, it pays to be here with us live in person because we give away a 2-night stay at the Oriat Hotel, a $500 value to our top question asker of the night. So make sure you come on down and join us at some point over the course of the season. We're going to talk about these Jayhawks who just keep racking up victories. And it's not just the men, it's the women's basketball team too. Do you guys know we are one of just 6 schools in America that is undefeated in both men's and women's basketball at 10-0. How about that? Isn't that great? On top of that, the individual accolades continue to pour in. We've had 3 weeks now of basketball in the Big 12 Conference, 3 weeks of Big 12 weekly awards, and a Kansas Jayhawk has won it every single week. Dedrick Lawson twice, LaGerald Vick once, Quentin Grimes a Rookie of the Week, but how about that? Lawson coming off 2 more double-doubles, your MVP up in New York as the Jayhawks take down a top 5 team in Tennessee. Speaking of top 5 opponents, have you guys heard this stat? Coach Self knocking off Tennessee the other day makes him now 19-5 against top 5 opponents at Kansas. 19-5. That's unheard of. And all of his coaching contemporaries out there, whether it's Coach K, Roy Williams, Calipari, nobody's even close to 19-5 in top 5 games. And this is equally nuts. In regular season top 10 matchups, regular season only, we've now won 13 straight regular season top 10 games. How crazy is that? Top 10 opponents 13 consecutive times in the regular season. We've dated this back as far as the records will show it with the polls and all of that to 1996, 1997 is as far back as the researchers could go. Nobody else has ever done 13 consecutive regular season wins over top 10 teams. At some point you get tripped up along the way. Not at Kansas, not with Bill Self. How about that? So when the head coach makes his way in the door here in just a little bit, remind him of those numbers. 19-5, 13 straight. Of course, 15 straight in the Big 12, which is still a ways away. But a lot to be proud of here just 5 games into this season, both with men's and women's basketball, but especially with your number 2 ranked Jayhawks. A lot of questions rolling in about some individuals on this team. Some folks asking about how come we're not number 1. I don't know if Coach is too concerned with that. He wasn't after the Champions Classic, but we'll ask him about that with Gonzaga leapfrogging the Hawks. All kinds of good stuff we can get into, so stay tuned. It's going to be a fun hour. And here comes the man of the hour as we speak. As you can tell, the roar for head coach Bill Self. Hey, don't miss the Jayhawk coverage on Xfinity X1 Channel 258. This week it's men's basketball on Saturday versus Stanford and Jared Haas. Jayhawk Game Day Live starts at 4, 30 minutes prior to tip-off. Head coach Bill Self joins us right after this on the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network.
My dad was laid off when I was young. It's helped me manage my money better, save it for college.
I don't want to leave my family like in debt or have any financial issues.
Then we started getting into money, and that's when you realize like this makes the world go round.
You want to start saving money now and grow it.
I will be the generation.
I will be the generation
that is socially and financially aware
and uses technology to keep us connected.
That makes college affordable for everyone.
That takes a stand for what I believe in.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years. Right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening, Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
Here in Kansas, we're blessed with an abundance of oil and natural gas energy, as well as many other natural resources. Some folks say that producing oil and natural gas harms our farms and ranches. The truth is, oil and gas leasing and production are vital to sustaining Kansas farms and ranches from one generation to the next. We work together, and over the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Seconds to go in the half. Garrett, can he go coast to coast? You bet he can! A 94-foot drive and a floater that falls from 5 feet straight on. Halftime is here. KU down 9. Welcome back to Hawk Talk, live from Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, 6th and Wakarusa. Come on down and join us here. We'll be here for the next hour talking all things Kansas Jayhawk basketball. That highlight was from Marcus Garrett. It started a 24-0 run, 22 of which after the intermission. Folks always want to know when runs like that occur straight out of the gates, what did you say at halftime? I know there's no magical speech or anything, but what did spark such a huge start to the second half?
Oh, I don't know. I think that we obviously were slow in the first half, and they had us on our heels, and they played great. And then we played out of foul trouble and just really didn't finish the half very well at all. Even though they had played great, it still should have been a 3 or 5 point game. And then they put it on us late. And then fortunately Marcus made that little runner there at the end to get it to single figures. And then the second half, there was no panic in the locker room. It's just like, are we gonna guard them or what? I mean. We changed a little bit on what we were doing, but for the most part, it was just more energy and guys got a little confidence when we got off to a good start, and then we actually played very, very well. To start the second half, without question, the best stretch we've had all year.
It's a good Marquette team, picked second in the Big East, and a club that will
they can score, and the job that Devon did on Howard in the second half was tremendous. I mean, You want to say lock him up. I think he ended up with 18, but he had like 11 with 12 minutes left in the first half and ended up with 18. So he did a terrific job on him.
That's a preseason first-team All-Big East player. He just locked down, no doubt. And Kansas goes on to win that one. We won't talk a ton about that game, but since we heard the Marcus Garrett highlight, he got the start in the second half to help out on the perimeter. Unfortunately got dinged at the end of the game. Didn't play on Friday. Any update on the concussion-like symptoms?
Well, he's with us, and certainly you look at him, and you think he could play, but he's still having some headaches and dizziness, and so he's actually hasn't done much. He didn't do anything else in New York, and then we obviously didn't practice Saturday. We traveled on Sunday, no practice. We practiced yesterday. He didn't do anything. And then today he actually did just a little bit of limited stuff for about 15 minutes. Of course, we did so well today that we're actually coming back as a reward at 8 o'clock and doing it again because we did so well. But I don't know if he'll be able to go this evening or not. But we think he should be able to play by Saturday.
Good.
But we don't. But I guess with we've had some situations in the past, not like football, but we've had. I don't know if people remember Zach Peters. He never really got started for us, strictly because of concussions. I had 2 players at Tulsa whose career were ended by concussions. Their career because they had got so many in a short amount of time. We don't think there's any problems with Marcus, or at least the medical staff. Doc doesn't, in doing all the tests. And this is more precautionary than anything. But as long as he's still feeling, so a little bit of dizziness or whatever, we don't play till Saturday, so there's no reason to put him out there and risk him getting hit again.
Fans hear the term concussion protocol all the time in football with the natural collisions that you see every single Saturday. Is the protocol similar in basketball in terms of the tests they have to pass?
I would say yes, but I've never been at the football stadium and see what they go through. But the likelihood of it occurring in basketball isn't near as great as football, because obviously you can get hit every play in football. Right. Where this and the reality of it is, we're talking concussion type symptoms, which probably means he's got some type of concussion. I don't think they grade them anymore like they used to, but the reality, not serious like we've had some guys have. Some guys have been very, very serious. This was just a situation that he could have gone back out there and played and finished that game the last 30 seconds. But there was no reason for him to, and when he obviously let Doc know that he was kind of wheezy or whatever, then there's obviously that he wouldn't put him out there.
A tough kid, great contributor.
Yeah, he is a tough kid. That's
Can't wait
no
to get
question.
him back.
And we missed him against Tennessee. That's his kind of game, and certainly it would be nice to have him to guard Schofield or whatever, some of those possessions. But yeah, we missed him, but he'll be back out soon.
We'll talk plenty about Tennessee here in just a bit. Real quickly, I'm curious. You mentioned they did so well. You're coming back and doing it again at 8 o'clock tonight.
They were so happy and pleased and everything else.
How many times a year or every other year does that happen where you get 2 practices in one day because the first one didn't go according as planned?
Well, it happens every year. Unfortunately for us, it's happened twice in the last week.
Really?
We did it right before we left to go to New York, too. So this has not turned out to be the greatest practice team that we've ever had. But a lot of it is just strictly focus. We get maybe 30 minutes in, and we just have a hard time completing assignments and that kind of stuff. And so we'll get it right this evening. And I don't really think I look at it as punishment. I look at it as if you got a job to do and it's supposed to take 1 hour and 45 minutes to do it, and it takes you 4 hours to do it, you still got to do your job.
Sure.
You still got to finish what the assignment is, and we got through about 30% of what our assignment was earlier, so we still got about 70% to get through.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, thanks for filling us in on that. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can call us up at 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-4295, or email in those questions via KUathletics.com. Got a big stack of audience questions. I want to dive into the Tennessee matchup, talk about Stanford coming up, and we're going to spin that wheel for the second time on Hawk Talk. So all of that and more still to come as we bring it to you live from Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. The temperature is dropping, but the Jayhawks are heating up. Cheer louder and watch longer with an unfiltered wheat beer. Boulevard Brewing Company, local since 1989. More coming up with Coach right after this on the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. leading by 1. Now with a transition opportunity, Dodson throws up a prayer that's answered. What a shot by Devon Dodson, high off the window pane and true. More highlights from the Wednesday win over Marquette. Devon Dodson off to a great start in his Jayhawk career. The rookie out of North Carolina doing a great job at the point guard position. A lot on his shoulders, Coach. You talked about how in terms of giving the reins to a true freshman, haven't done that really since Taishan Taylor, but it seems like Devon Dodson is just getting better and better by the game. You mentioned the defensive efforts that he had versus Marcus Howard. How about the way he's running the offense?
Well, I think, first of all, Taishan had Sharon.
Right.
And so that was a little bit different. I mean, we got 2 young kids out there. But Devon has been one of our most pleasant surprises, without question. He's fast. He's tough. He's shot the ball pretty well. He's only shot 5 threes. I mean, made 5 threes, but he's only taken 10, so he's 50% from 3. And he's really getting the ball downhill. He's very good at driving the ball, and he's our best on the ball defender without question. So I think he's doing very, very well, and I can certainly see why people are starting to talk about him as being one of the premier young guards in the country.
It seems like he has an extra gear
that
not many have.
Yeah, he does.
How rare is his straight-on speed with the ball in his hands?
Well, I think there's a lot. You could look at all the good teams out there. Most everybody's got a guy that's comparable, but I don't know if anybody has anybody faster than Devon, at least from my perspective. I mean, he's fast, and Taishan's probably the fastest kid we've had since we've been here. And then Frank would be in that same class just about. I think Devon's also in that class. I still don't know that anybody was as fast as what Ty was. People don't remember, but in the last game against Missouri at our place, the most amazing play was Missouri went up 1 at the end of, I think it was the end of regulation. Could have been close to the end of overtime, but I think it was the end of regulation. And Missouri went up 1, and there was like 13 seconds left, and we didn't call timeout. And we threw the ball to Taishan, and he caught it moving up the floor under the free throw line extended, and in 2 bounces shot a layup. Wow. Think about that. In 2 bounces, shot a layup. He got fouled on it, and then he made both free throws to put us back up. But yeah, he had ridiculous speed, and plus he was long too. But Devon has that same type of explosiveness.
How about that? Can you give us an update on Taishan? I know after a brief career with the Nets and the NBA, he's bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, the last time I talked to him was in the summer, and he was still trying to figure out where he's going. So I don't know exactly what country he's in now. It's hard for me to keep up with every player in their respective country. But yeah, he was actually MVP of the playoffs last year and had a really good year. And I hope like heck he has an opportunity to get back in the league. He's definitely an NBA guard. Wow. But sometimes when you get out, it's a little bit harder to get back in.
No doubt.
He may face that struggle.
Let's talk about the Tennessee game. I referenced this as you were coming in. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you've read it by now, but 19-5 is your record at Kansas versus top 5 teams. 19-5, and here's another one with this overtime victory over Tennessee. You have no contemporaries even close when it comes to top 5 win percentage. All the Hall of Famers still coaching today. Nobody's close. I'm not going to ask you how do you do it, Coach, but speak to how remarkable that is to, out of 24 top 5 matchups in your 16 seasons, to have won 19 of them.
Well, it's the most unbelievable stat I've ever heard. No, I'm joking. No, I don't know how people come up with these stats. I've never, I had never heard of anything like that. But we've had obviously a great run of players. Of course, everybody in the top 5, I guess, has guys, but we've also had some good fortune too, and so much of it is, in sports and people can overanalyze or whatever they do, and the difference is winning and losing is whether a guy makes the front end of a 1-on-1 or he doesn't,
right.
or things like that, or a guy plays great defense and whether a guy gets a shot blocked but he blocks it to a teammate and the teammate gets an easy bat. There's so much luck involved too. So
sure.
So I don't think that, and we've had our fair share of good fortune. obviously, but I'm not going to put too much stock in that one. I don't think there's any, if I wonder how many of those games came down to the last 30 seconds. And I would bet, and I have no idea, the ones we lost, I bet at least half of them did. And the ones we won, I bet close to half of them did. So a lot of us just guys making plays with the game on the line.
And good coaching as well. He's humble, but a 24-game sample size is substantial. 19-5 in top 5 games.
I've actually saw one that was actually, to me, more impressive than that. They showed me this today. Okay, I think Chris Tyson's group found it. So, and everybody knows Chris is our SID. But we had a stretch in 2012 where we were 7-0 against the top 10.
Yeah.
And then we lost a game by more points than all the wins added up when Kentucky beat the heck out of us in Indianapolis. Everybody remember that? I do too. And then since then, I think we've won 13 in a row.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 stretches where we're 20. Are we 20?
20-1 then
against the top 10, which is a pretty good stat. And then what naysayers will say, well, what about the tournament? And that's a quality point too. So we got to obviously do as well. Postseason is what we've done regular season, but yeah, those are good stats that obviously, maybe if you go to a friendly place, it may get you a cup of coffee and a bowl of soup, but that would be about the extent of it.
Or a big pizza here at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. Great stats, though, and Tyson told me that the 13 straight top 10 wins in the regular season, they traced it as far as they could go back, which is only to 1996, 1997. I guess that's as far as they track that, but nobody else has done it in all of college basketball. So kudos, Coach. Well done. First National Bank offers the chance to be an honorary captain, receive game tickets, an autograph ball, a VIP tour of Allen Fieldhouse, and more. Register at any First National Bank branch or visit fnbo.com/Jayhawks. I want to talk more about this Tennessee game before we go to break. First off, no Marcus Garrett, as we mentioned, so you were losing arguably your most mentally tough player against the team that you said.
Best defender for sure.
Best defender, yeah. Against the team that you said might be the toughest team that you face, at least in the regular season or non-conference. And yet other guys stepped up, as you have to. It's a next man up mentality. KJ Lawson in particular gave you some huge minutes. Tell us what pleased you the most about KJ's effort.
Well, KJ hasn't had a chance to play much, as you guys know that follow us, and that was actually a good game for KJ, and honest, because Tennessee played small a lot, even though their guys were strong. They played short because they would play Grant Williams, who was maybe the best 4-man that we'll go against all year. They'd play him at the 5 some, and then play Schofield, the big strong kid who's a man. They'd play him at the 4. So it's hard for Diedrich to guard a guard on the perimeter, and Doak was in foul trouble, so it's just kind of natural to play Diedrich at the 5 and play KJ at the 4, and that way we can spread the floor at least a little bit offensively and throw the ball to Diedrich, and he was our best offensive weapon. So KJ did a nice job. I also thought Charlie Moore gave us some great minutes. He played 32 minutes, and even though he's 3 of 10 from the field, he shot 2 balls that he missed, but he forced enough help that we were able to get tip-ins behind it. So that's good. I mean, those are good shots, even though you miss them. And so I thought those 2 particularly were good. I thought Mitch gave us some good minutes, and David only played 4, but he did fine. And then Doak really struggled. He got away from doing what he can do, and we've talked a lot about that, and he sees that. And then Q had a rough night. So and then Marcus didn't play. So the exciting thing with me is, I think we're so much better than what we played. I think we've done fine. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not being critical of our guys, but I still haven't seen us play like we're capable of playing, at least for a period of time. We showed it for 10 minutes against Marquette. We showed it maybe the last 15 minutes against Tennessee. Competing hard and doing that stuff. But I feel like we get in our own way a lot more than what really good teams should. And I think that we can correct that.
If I would have told you over these last 4 games you'd have at least an 8-point deficit in all 4, but you'd win all 4, would you have believed it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, that's right. You're practicing twice.
No. But you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but we've had, like, was it last year or the year before? We were behind double figures like 10 times in games that we won last year. And so the thing that you have to understand in basketball, it's a long game. And teams go on runs, and so you're never up enough, and you're never down too much to be out of it or to feel safe. And how many times have we had a double figure lead and let the other team come back? Sure. I see people rolling their eyes and raising, nodding their heads. So too many times. But a lot of that is, a lot of times when you're coming back, you're playing you're playing to try to protect something, and when you're playing from behind, you're playing with a freer mind because you got to go take it. Sure. And that mentality is so different that you're trying to hold on as opposed to go try to snatch it. And then when you try to hold on, you always play conservative and you never play as well. So it's sometimes common for those things to happen. Like the Michigan State game this year. We're up double figures, and they end up cutting it late, and we didn't turn it over once. We didn't do silly things. They made some plays. The basket got bigger, and we missed our free throws, and that allowed them to get back in the game. But that's why comebacks occur, because people have a hard time putting people away for different reasons.
What does persevering through some adversity early in the year and still winning in the process do for a younger team with some new pieces mixing in? And then what did the Tennessee win in particular do? Because you told me in the pregame, we need a game like this. What does that do when you're able to win shorthanded against such a tough team?
Well, I think that I think it'll help us. There's no question. How much it helps us this early, I don't know. We're not a team yet, and we're not going to be a team for a while. And you got to go through some crap every year. Every good team goes through some stuff to the point where they become a team, and where they all know the roles, and they all know where their shots are coming from, and they all know what wins, and they all understands what doesn't win, and they value those things. We're not close to being at that level yet, but that's also encouraging if we're not close to being at that level, that we've actually done pretty well so far. I mean, we're probably the only team of all time that could have 2 top 10 wins and get jumped twice by teams behind us. But you look at those teams that jumped us, they've been more impressive over a course of a big time game than what we have. So I'll take winning the way we won every day, because I do think at the end of the day there's more teams that win through toughness and win somewhat ugly than there are teams that actually win by 100% executing and making shots and all those things. And you'd like to be able to do those things, but the bottom line is you just got to make sure other people don't play well. And I think we're starting to understand that. At least we were in those 2 particular games.
I want to get your take more on the polls, since we had about 3 people ask about that, but also about the new net rankings. We'll talk about that when we come back and maybe explain that a little bit to the audience here. If you want to get in on the conversation, call us up, 1-800-845-HAWK. That's 1-800-845-4295. Hawk Talk is brought to you in part by Jana King, the official cleaning partner of Kansas Athletics. We're at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, 6th and Wakarusa here in Lawrence. And for great local sports bars in the Kansas City area, visit one of their 8 Johnny's Tavern locations. More coming up on the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years, right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening, Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
So I got my first account when I was 16.
I got my first banking account when I got my first job, so when I was 14. So when I finally opened all my accounts, it was just such a relief.
At the end of the day, I feel kind of like good when I go to the bank.
What do you save your money for?
College. I will be the generation.
I will be the generation
that is socially and financially aware
and uses technology to keep us connected.
that makes college affordable for everyone.
That takes a stand for what I believe in.
A smile, such a simple gesture, an effortless contraction of muscles, a flash of teeth. Healthy smiles have the power to spread joy, courage, and love. When you smile, it transforms you and the world around you. So if you feel the urge, go ahead and use that simple gesture to spread joy. Keep your smile healthy and strong. Choose Delta Dental for your individual or family plan, protecting more smiles than anyone.
Hello, Kansas. We're your energy industry. In the past, we've shown you beautiful slow-motion images of gorgeous Kansas sunsets, basketball games, and other images that promote our industry. But right now, it's important that you know the facts, like the fact that during the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. We respect our state and its natural resources. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
Did you get your new Truity Visa card yet? You'll save money with 1.99 APR for 15 months. That's right, 1.99 APR with any new Truity Visa card. This rate's good on all purchases and cash advances for the first 15 months. What are you waiting for? Start saving money today. TruityCU.org/credit cards. With approved credit, come in or go online for details.
It's blocked by Azubuike. A clean rejection. Here comes KU. Moore down the left sideline. Turns, finds Vic. KU for the lead. Yes! LeGerald Vic from the wing. Back-to-back triples has KU on top. Yeah. Highlights from Friday's win over Tennessee. LeGerald Vic with a personal 8-0 run. Haven't talked about him or Diedrich in that game, but there have been several stretches now in the last couple of weeks where Vic has taken over, but that was a huge sequence there. Back-to-back-to-back buckets.
Well, LeGerald, as you guys know, has been off the charts good. He has been fantastic. You know, he labored in the first game offensively against Michigan State. I think he was 1 for 7, if I'm not mistaken, and 0 for 4 from 3. And then since then, I mean, he went through a period of time where he made 18 out of 23 threes. But the other thing that I like most is that he's competing. He's got energy. He's smiling when he's playing. He's really playing with joy, and he just looks so aggressive. The play that you showed right there, when we watched tape, I told the guys, you guys remember in 5th grade or 4th grade when you were playing biddy ball and whoever had the ball, everybody just ran to it to try to get it? Right. That's exactly what he did in that play. And he ends up going and getting it, basically stealing it from Charlie and then making the 3. But, yeah, he's seeing a big basket right now. I certainly hope it can continue.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Diedrich Lawson. Twice over now, your Big 12 Player of the Week, and this week he was really good. 2 double-doubles, averaged 25 and 12. Some huge contributions in both those games up in New York. How much is he progressing and how much is he settling in after maybe not the hottest start shooting-wise the first couple weeks?
Yeah, he didn't shoot the ball great early on, but we know Diedrich can score. And I also think when guys sit out, even though they're practicing with us, there's still some rust involved when guys sit out. But if people really studied that game, it was fun to watch because you had 2 bad boys that play the same position going at each other. I mean, Diedrich may be the best guy that Grant Williams guards this year at that 4 spot. Maybe not, you know, because obviously they're going to play a great schedule. But Grant Williams may be the best guy that Diedrich guards this year. I mean, those were 2 good players going at each other, and you know, we're fortunate that Grant fouled out. He had 18, but I felt like he was totally in control when he was playing in the game, and then I thought like Diedrich totally controlled the game when he was in there. He made some big boy moves down there that I thought was pretty special, and then he looked athletic too on a couple of plays above the rim, and certainly he finds a way to get rebounds. I mean, he's a good position rebounder and you know, obviously a terrific passer.
You mentioned he looked athletic. Bev in our audience here tonight at Johnny's Tavern says early in the season it was mentioned that Diedrich isn't very athletic. What does that mean, and what would it take for him to be considered more athletic? She also asks, who do you consider the best athlete on the team?
The best, I don't know. I would probably say LeGerald or Silvio or Doak's a darn good athlete for a guy that big. And then Devon's a great athlete too for his, he's just not very tall, but he's so fast and strong, and his lateral quickness is good. So, there'd be different ways maybe you could rate him, but Diedrich is a different athlete. Like when Bird played, and I followed him pretty close because I idolized everything he did. When Bird played, I don't remember everybody ever saying that he was the quickest, best athlete out there. But Sport Magazine, anybody remember Sport Magazine?
Sure.
Sport Magazine did a study, and they rated the first step of all small forwards in the NBA. You know what Bird ranked?
Top 3?
Second.
Wow.
Second best first step. Of course, Dr. J was the first. But second best. And the reason is that jab or whatever, it gets people just leaning, and then you can take advantage of that. It's not the first two steps. It's that first step that's just initial, and Diedrich's has that. So I actually agree with whoever you were visiting with. Who'd you say?
Bev.
Bev. I actually agree with Bev. He didn't look as athletic to me in the 2 home games that we had here. To me, he looked like he was off balance some. But I actually thought he looked pretty athletic this past 2 games, and he's never going to be a high jumper like some guys that we like, a Darrell Arthur or some guys we've had, but he's so clever and shifty that one little move can get you off balance, and then he can take advantage of you being off balance, and that's what Bird did so good. He could just get you leaning one way, and then he could go by you, but if he couldn't get you leaning, then he wouldn't go by you. And Diedrich is a lot like that. He just knows how to play.
Safe to say Larry was your favorite player growing up as a kid?
Pretty safe to say.
Pretty safe to say.
Yeah, pretty safe to say.
Did you have the basketball cards, the jersey, the poster, anything?
No, we had no. We may have had posters, but no, we didn't. Back in the day, we didn't buy a lot of jerseys. So I don't even know if they sold them in Edmond back in the day.
I'm guessing NBA 2K wasn't around.
No,
either.
I don't think so. I don't think it was around back then.
Good stuff, Bev. Thanks for the question. A lot of folks have asked about Gonzaga jumping the Hawks. Second time this season that you've been leapfrogged in the polls. As you pointed out, hey, they just beat the #1 team. I know it's not a big deal to you, but we've had multiple questions about, does it affect morale? What about the psyche of the players? How much do they want to be #1? There's about 3 questions in here, so I'll turn to you. Did they pay any attention to that at all this week?
No, and it doesn't affect morale at all. That would be like running a marathon and you're in the lead at the half-mile mark. I mean, you still got 25.5 miles to go.
Sure.
And I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I actually don't think I would rather be up there high than not up there high.
Right.
But that's not a knock to us. That's not anything. We happen to play. We happen to be #1 whenever Duke put on an exhibition on how to play the game. Okay, and then so everybody remembers that. And then we happen to be #2 when Gonzaga's #3 when they beat the team. Not only beat them, they had them down double figures for a good part of it till the very end. But they beat a team that was thought of just 10 days earlier as being invincible. So I don't buy, and I'm good with that. It doesn't make any difference to us whether it be good, whether it be 1 or 2 or whatever. I don't see any negatives with that at all. All I do know is I think that we can play better, which is exciting to me.
All right. Thanks to all who asked about the rankings. We will talk about the net rankings in just a bit, but before we get out to break, special shout out. We've got the head hawk in the house tonight, Jeff Long and his lovely wife, Fanny. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and it's largely because of Jeff that we have a new head football coach, Les Miles. I know you want to talk about Coach Miles and how exciting this is for Kansas athletics.
Well, it is exciting. I haven't really had a chance to talk much about it because I don't think we've had a show since then. So I've talked about it in a press conference, but this is really an exciting time, and that's not taken away from anybody that was here before at all. And because we all like David and his staff. That doesn't take away from anything, but sometimes fresh blood can rejuvenate a place, and not only from a coaching standpoint, but from an administrative standpoint as well. And I think that what you have seen is that we have an athletic director and a chancellor that's going for the throat. I mean they're going for the throat. So which is what we need, and that I think that gets people excited. And so I think it's terrific. Hire. I never have met Les, but the best thing about Les is his wife is a ball coach.
Yep.
You know, she was an assistant coach at Michigan, so she knows ball. That's the best thing about Les. So I hope he can recruit too. But to have somebody that carries. I mean, if we want to make a statement, in my opinion, from a commitment to football, and we're gonna turn it, and we're gonna make a statement, and we know what's going to go into it. We've got the chairman of the football selection committee as our athletic director, and then we go out and hire a guy that's won a national championship. And if I'm not mistaken, Jeff may can correct me on this, I think there's only 5 coaches that are presently coaching that have won a national championship in football. 5 or 6.
5 or 6. 6.
Yeah, might be 6. So 6 after maybe 5 before Les was hired. So 6. Think about that. So you only got 1 of 6 that have won a national championship. And the other thing that's exciting to me is, and maybe only coaches understand this more so than fans, but fans at your respective schools, you think that you should just beat everybody just because we think that we have the best of everything. Well, you got to know that Texas actually tries too, right. and other people try too. He was at LSU when Alabama was the best and most dominant football program that college football has seen maybe since, OU in the 40s, or when Bud Wilkinson was winning all those games in a row or whatnot. Unbelievable. And And Alabama's got to go through LSU to get to where they want to go, yep. and he's got to go through. So to me, that's exciting. You got a guy that's been in the game, been in the fire, and certainly I think it'll bode well for everybody that supports us.
And even during that dominant stretch of Alabama, he won on average 10 games a year for 11-plus seasons at LSU.
In the toughest football division in the country. So I think people should be very excited about that, and also, also to be excited that there's certainly a vision on what's getting ready to take place within our athletic department.
Well said. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff and Fanny, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate you guys. When we come back, we will spin the wheel and have some more fun with some audience questions as well. More Hawk Talk coming up from Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence. Check out their 8 locations in Kansas City as well. It's the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. Shot fakes out a three, lost the handle, stolen away by KJ. It flat out slipped out of his hand, up the court to Lawson, and a right hand tomahawk jam. An exclamation point for number 2 Kansas. Big highlight late in the game and the Jayhawks' big win over Tennessee. Welcome back to Hawk Talk, brought to you by Diagnostic Imaging Centers, centered on you. You can watch the telecast replay of tonight's show on 38 The Spot, Spectrum Sports, Cox Cable, Midco Sports Network, ESPN Plus, and others across the state. Check your local listings for availability, and for TV times, visit kuathletics.com/TV. All right, it's RIP to the RPI. No more ratings percentage index in evaluating college basketball teams. Instead, we've got the net ratings or rankings. Explain to us how net works, and then David Reynolds in our audience wants to know what relative weight will it have come Selection Sunday?
Well, I think it'll have be very relative and have a significant weight on Selection Sunday. I cannot answer exactly what net does, nor do I know that any coach out there can answer exactly. But there are different metrics that have been used and studied, and you got some serious, really, really bright people that have come up with some ways where you kind of take the best of a lot and put it in a bag and shake it up, and you kind of get the average of that. So the RPI technically is not totally dead. There's a piece of the RPI that goes into the net. But what the net does, it'll take your who you play, who you beat, where you play them, that kind of stuff, which the RPI did. But it's also included in point differential, which I don't like at all. I think that's misleading. If you beat a team by 3, or if you beat them by 10, to me it's still a win. But it takes into consideration point differential, but I think it maxes it out at 10 points, and then it takes into consideration quadrant wins, which we had last year, but that's also figured into the net, and so you have a pool of things. And so when you look at our deal, we're 2 in both polls by a very slim margin, but we're 2 in both polls. If we were going by the old RPI, we're 1, because we played a terrific schedule so far, and we're 5-0. But we're 11 in the net. Well, don't panic. We got 33 games left or whatever, 30 games left. And there's so many times last year or in the past that a team could be 57 in the RPI, and they play 2 really good teams the next week, and they jump to 21. Right. So it's fine. But you got to look at it. Well, Marquette's 99. Well, Marquette was preseason 24. They're better than 99. Vermont, I looked at them today because I kind of thought the same thing. I wonder what Vermont in the net was like 224 in the country. Well, they're going to win their league, so they're going to end up being a top 100 type. So some of the teams that we played, because there's such a small sample size, is rated maybe worse than what they will be at the end. And like Tennessee is ranked 6th in the country, and I think that weren't they like 25 or 27 in the net?
Yeah.
Because they haven't had a chance to have a big enough sample size to get as many quality points that they will have moving forward. So, yeah, that's nothing to sweat at all. But what they'll do at the end, they'll take how many good wins do you have against the top 25 or the top 50, but that will be based on the net as opposed to the RPI. So
great breakdown.
But I didn't tell you how you get to it, but that's basically in general on how it's going to work, not having any idea on the metrics and how they actually get there.
Well, I appreciate the breakdown, David. Thanks for the question. All good stuff. All right, time to spin that wheel. New feature here on Hawk Talk. As you can see, we've got 14 categories here. These are former players, current players, ESPN personalities, basketball celebrities, some NBA guys. There's Staff Asks, which is coaches' assistants asking questions. We've got Coach's Choice, where he can pick any spot on the board. But we'll put the big wheel up here, and, Coach, you can spin that wheel.
So we can't get the same one we had in the past, right?
Yeah, we had Jay Williams 2 weeks ago, and he asked, what coach would you spend a day in the life of? So that one's gone, but we've replaced it with Quentin Grimes. How about that?
Okay, so you always are replacing it.
Yeah. And the answer is 1990s players. So these are guys you didn't coach, but prominent players from the 90s. Let's see who we've got for you.
I was barely born in the 90s.
Maybe it's Larry Bird. Who knows? We'll cue it up. Alex Birch, 1990s players. What do you got for us, Alex?
Hey, this is Scott Pollard, former Kansas Jayhawk, class of 1997. Got an interesting question. Well, I think it's interesting. For Coach Self, if you were not coaching basketball right now, what would you be doing for a living? My guess is super mega pilot of Top Gun aviation, like call sign Self 1 Maverick Top Ace Goose. That's a long call sign, but I think you got it on your helmet.
If I was fortunate enough to have Scott Pollard's job, if I wasn't coaching, that would be the perfect gig.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. So no, and all Scott is doing some television and some stuff up in Indy. He lives in Indy, and as you guys know, he may be the biggest personality that Kansas basketball maybe has ever had.
Yep.
I mean, he was a tremendous player. People don't give him credit for as good a player as he was, and now married and has a beautiful family and raising kids and everything. But he is one that never let his opinion go unknown.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on this, but I think that Gurley has told me or whatnot, but I think Scott has at least 4 brothers.
Yep. All huge.
And Scott is the shortest one in his family.
Isn't that amazing?
How about that? 6'11".
Yep.
He's the smallest guy in his family. Do you guys remember a couple of years ago we had a walk-on named Josh Pollard?
Yep.
He was here a couple of years ago. Great kid. Scott's cousin.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking we're going to take Pollard. He's going to be 6'10" at least, 6'3". I don't know what was wrong with that one, but Scott is great. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, I don't think that I would be a pilot, fly fighter planes or anything like that. But I'd probably be in sales, I would think, trying to do something. But I don't have any idea what that would be.
You're a good closer. All right, Maverick, Ace Goose. Good
Ace
answer.
Goose, yeah.
Thank you, Scott. More coming up with Coach Bill Self right after this on the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
It's payday! It's payday! It's payday!
Your dreams are waiting, so play Lucky for Life from the Kansas Lottery, and you could win $1,000 a day every day for the rest of your life.
It's payday! It's payday!
Alexander will shoot one more here with 1/10 of a second to go. It misses. Rebound, Kansas, and you can rock. Chalk it up. Another top 5 win for Bill Self and an NIT championship to boot. That was the final call on Friday as KU took down Tennessee, the 5th straight in-season tournament title for the Jayhawks, who will head to Maui next fall. All right, Coach, we've only got about a minute and a half left. We do have some other audience questions, but quickly, Jared Hass is coming back on Saturday and bringing a good Stanford team with him. Give us your thoughts on Coach Hass and the Cardinal.
Well, you know, obviously a KU favorite from many years past. Played on the same team with Scott. Great team, you know, with Jock and Jared and Paul and Scott and a guy named LaFrance. Maybe the most talented team that Kansas has ever had. And you know, he played the game the right way, as people here know, and he's a good guy. And you know, I certainly hope that pregame introductions and everything, we all take a moment to honor him in our way, and then take about 40 minutes to make sure that that's the only honoring that'll get done the rest of the time. But bringing a really long Stanford team in, and they what they do as good as anybody in the country, they defend at 3. You know, people are only making about less than 5 threes a game against them, so they really get out and defend the arc.
That's 4:30 on Saturday. We'll look forward to seeing all you guys out there down at Fieldhouse. Coach, we're out of time. Great to see you.
Okay, thanks.
That's Hawk Talk. Join us. We'll have pregame coverage coming your way at 3 o'clock on Saturday, right here on the Equity Bank Jayhawk IMG Sports Network.
You've been listening to Hawk Talk with Bill Self on the Jayhawk IMG Sports Network. Tune in each week to get the latest on Jayhawk basketball from the head coach, Bill Self.